Hi, I'm a tutor for mathsанdenglish.net, and today we're looking at standard form. So you might already be familiar with standard form, and maybe you're watching this video just to work out how to convert things into and out of standard form, but just in case you're new to it, I want to go over what is standard form. So the reason we use it at all is as a more efficient way of writing down very large or very small numbers, and as a nice way to kind of compare between them. And it consists of the same few parts every time. So first, you will have a number, here represented by the question mark, which is a number between 1 and 10. It can be greater than or equal to 1, so 1 could be that number, but it must be smaller than 10, so 10 would be too big. It needs to have only one non-zero digit before the decimal point. Then this will always be followed by times 10 to the power of something, in this case represented by n. The reason I've written it as n is because that could be any integer, both positive and negative, depending on whether the original number out of standard form that you started with was large or small. First, we're going to take a look at converting from a regular number into standard form. And our example here is 0.000000162. As you can tell from me reading that out, the zeros get a little bit difficult to keep track of, which is why we want to convert it into standard form. Based on what I said before, we know the sections that we are expecting to see. We're expecting a number between 1 and 10 times 10 to the power of something. Now I said that that power can be positive or negative. The way to tell what it'll be depends on the number that you're starting with. So if your non-standard form number is small, as in less than 1, then you know that it'll be a negative power. Whereas if your number is really massive, then that tells you it will be a positive power. In this case, we can see that it's a small number, it's 0.000 something. So we know that that'll be a negative power. In terms of what the number that's between 1 and 10 actually is, we want to look at the non-zero digits, in this case 162. And looking at those, we want to figure out where within that number we can place the decimal point to make it a number between 1 and 10. If you place it before those numbers, you know that it's too small. If you place it after, it's too big. If you place it between 6 and 2, 16 is still bigger than 10. So between 1 and 6 is where we want the decimal point to end up, giving us 1.62 at the start of our standard form number. Now to work out what the power actually is, we need to look at how far the decimal point moves to get to that point. So we can measure it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we know that the power must be 6, and we already established it's negative because of the small number. Next, we'll take a look at converting from standard form back into a normal number. In this case, starting with 6.025 times 10 to the 6. First thing we want to check is the power. In this case, it's positive, which tells us it's going to be a large number. So we know that that decimal point is going to end up moving towards the right side to make the number larger to bring it back to its normal form. So we need to add a bunch of zeros on the right side. So 6.025 is what you want to write out as normal, and then follow that up with some zeros. Now we look at where the decimal point ends up being. We know that it moves 6 spaces, and we've just established that the numbers are going to have to be bigger because of the positive power. So the decimal point moves to the right 6 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this is where it will be. So our final number answer will be 6025000 as our non-standard form number. Now it's your turn. Pause the video and have a go at these 4 questions about converting numbers in standard form. When you come back, I'll show you the answers. If you've just come back, these are the answers that you hopefully should have gotten. Mark your work, and if anything went wrong, rewatch the sections of the video where I explain the process and see if you can figure out what happened. Next lesson, we'll be moving on to ratio notation.